Welcome, guys, to the next part of our React um, features. So, we will continue with the use state function and we will provide metaphors to better understand it. So, in the previous video, we discussed how use state holds a state. We change React via props and state. So we will go back to this. A component is withdrawn when its local state change or when it receives change input parameter, also referred to as props. In the previous video, remember I changed something and then Vite automatically change it. Actually, the limitation for this use state is that when we add another element, for example, address, and then we put Bulacan, it will not show on the system. Say we put this, Bulacan, it will not show here because use state use props and state to interact with the component. Another thing is that every component has one must have only one parent element because that's how React trap changes. So to better understand it is I'll provide a painting metaphor. Uh, let's say you have mural painting at your house, a big mural painting, and this is you, React. So in order to what you will what you do to efficiently change the painting of this, let's say this, that's three. To change the painting of this is that you have this virtual DOM, and then you just update the change on this virtual DOM. Um, so let's see. So let's say these three suddenly got its fruits, right? So instead of rebuilding or redrawing this big tree, we just redraw it at redraw it at your virtual DOM, which is the paper here, and then you go here to update it. So instead of having those repainting everything on the browser with those large pixel, you use this React. This is React. React use a diffing algorithm to calculate changes, and it does that using the nodes for parents. For parents, that's props. That's what we call props. So for props, uh, whenever something change on the div element or on the parent element, it also the React component also change. It's the same with the use state. For use state, you use the local state of the component. The best way to explain that is using a contact list. So imagine you have this contact list. Let's say name, ret, ret. Oh my God. Let's say that name ret and then another is name gen. So use state or react use state is like the hand here. Forgive me for my drawing, guys. Here, this is the react use state. You can use this uh, use state to update this. Let's say you want to add another name. Let's say candy. So whenever you want to update this, you use this react use state. So this is an example of react use state. Here and then, so that's the metaphor. Proption state, use state, example, and metaphor. Diffing algorithm. So here's an example of diffing algorithm. It uses an if-else statement. The details for this is not that important. I just want you guys to show you the level details on how React changed the nodes. So it actually used the JavaScript. React is eventually transpiled to JavaScript just like an Angular or any or TypeScript or any JavaScript language. And then this is the deeping algorithm. It uses if-else statement in the background. And then for styling, we can use an inline like this H1 to another thing with the React component is that since it only each component must only have one parent element. You either need to use React fragment like this, open tags, open and closing tags here, or a div. I'll show you this guys, and then div. So it's actually inside table. Hmm. So most of the time you will use fragment instead of that, but the main point is that it has a parent element, and then the next topic is the life cycle of component. The issue with this is that it could cause an infinite loop. I'll show you guys an example of infinite loop. Basically, since you have this contacts, uh, imagine that this is infinite. So let's say this react use state, you use this within the function. So whenever React redraws the uh, page on the browser, it automatically trigger an immediate change because you use the use state function inside the component. So it's not recommended to do that, and um, we have tools to avoid that. So instead of use state, we can use effect, and then to understand that, we need to understand the life cycle of component. Here, for example, imagine you have this hand automatically updating list on its own without uh, and then like the contact links are piling up like this. So you have a lot of um, contact list because this has a bug. It's like an application that crash on your system. That's usually what happened because there's a function that adds there's a use state function that adds the use state inside the component. So that's the downside of using use state. I'll show you an example of using use state, guys. here. So this set contacts, you use the set contacts, which is the use state within this component function. So this will cause infinite loop. As you can see, guys, there's no data anymore. Even if we reload this, here's the byte, guys. There's no data. So that's an issue if we use the use state. So this code here, the contacts state, this is the initial status of the contact list. So for example, in the first metaphor, like the first name is red. So that's the initial status of this function. You use set contacts outside this function to manipulate this contact state. So let's say you want to add Jen, you use the set contacts, but you must not you must use that outside of this function list. Let's say on another file that export this, because remember we can uh, that imports this rather. Um, yeah, so that's how we use state. And then we will go now to life cycle of component. Mount, the component is initially added to the component tree. Update, the state of the component or the props of the component change. And mount, the component is removed. At this point, you should close open resources such as data streams. So the best metaphor for this is an actor playing a stage in a stage. So let's say you have a big stage here where you have an actor, right? Then these are the people watching, right? And then here another people. So let's imagine there's a lot of people, guys. So um, the mount is the uh, initial setup of the screenplay of the actor. So let's say there is an actor here. Here, that's the initial setup. Hmm. Now, um, the update, the state of the component or the props of the components change. Just like with useState, these function change with depends on the state or the set context. This this actor uh, change its ways or change its um, act depending on the audience, and the audience as well change its reaction depending on the actor. So that's the update part of this life cycle. Unmount, the component is removed. At this point, you should close open resources. So after the play, you usually actor usually are removed from this. Let's say here. Let's just create another file. So the actor now is gone. The people are still here, right? Forgive me, drawing, guys. So it's just for illustration purposes and for metaphor. Uh, so the unmount means that the actor, like, let's say there's a door here where there's a curtain. Uh, there's a curtain in the door. So the actor needs to close the curtain as well whenever he goes out of the stage. It's the same with unmount. Uh, and then, just like an actor wouldn't do, let's say this, here's the director, uh, and here's instruction. Let's say this is an instruction. Let's put letter I here, guys. instruction. Use use effect is like an instruction of director, just like an actor wouldn't do anything outside of director instruction. Use effect wouldn't React wouldn't do anything outside of US use effect definition. So we implement instruction using use effect. So that's the metaphor for this use effect, and I'll show you an example of use effect, guys. Here's the use effect. So let's save this. By the way, guys, here on our first, let's see, on our previous example, here is how you define style. So we'll provide initial example for style. Here, each one, you style this using open semicolon, text declaration, and then the value of the style. And here's the contact list, and here's the result of that, guys. Here, a big contact list with underline. And then the use effect will show the example of use. It's the same result, but here, um, another metaphor for this inside this function is that a chef changing the ingredients of the sinigang meal, if you're aware, if you're Filipino, sinigang meal, depending on this customers demographics. For some people, uh, let's see, they want um, more onions. Uh, so let's say this is a kitchen, and there's like three demographics. So this want more onions, onion, of more onion, and then more sinigang mix, sinigang, and then more chili. So these are array of of dependencies, what we call array of dependencies in, and here is the shop. And this is like the, let's say, the meal that's being served here. Um, Here, this set context is the array of dependencies that can be used by use effect to serve the, or can be used by the chef to serve the customer. uh, this set context. But in this example, we use empty dependency array. It only runs on mount on the initial uh, setup, and then this context states this is the by default this is the returned um, result of this use effect. So for this use effect, we use fetch API to call localhost API slash contacts, which is this, and then we use JavaScript promise to use set contacts data to use this data, and then that catch error to show the error in case there's any error, and then we return this table. And as you can see, guys, it's the same. Moving forward, we will create our own server. For this, we need to here all of our data, the server, the function, the front end function are in the same file. Moving forward, we will distribute that to our application for better maintainability. So that's it, guys, with our life cycle component. Let's just see if I forgot something here. So here, actually, initially the React presents an empty list, and then after that, so initially when we go here, it's actually an empty list. So let's say here, let's go here. Initially, it will provide an empty list, and then after that, it will use fetch API to get the data from this URL, and then uh, the response will be uh, converted from JSON, and then it will return a promise that set contacts to hold the data. So here, when we reload this, initially it's an empty. Oh my God, let's see. Initially, that's an empty. So it's fast. Another bonus is that Vite. Uh, you can think of Vite as like a construction team. So a construction team, they are the one implementing the um, house construction efficiently. So they have all the resources, the materials needed to build the house. And then React is like a blueprint that they follow to build the house. Blue, just like a house wouldn't be built by blueprint alone without the construction company. The construction company wouldn't be able to build the house if there's no blueprint. So that's the difference between Vite and React, because that's important to understand later to see. But it doesn't. Vite doesn't provide our back end. It just makes our development of the front end easier because it has had module replacement that allow us to immediately bundle the app and then import it to the browser for fast development. In the next videos, we will discuss CSS further. Now, we provide an introduction on inline CSS, on how we can use CSS inline. Next, we will use imports, how we can import CSS on other files, and then how we can use the SAS processors to better maintain our development. So that's it, guys. Again, thank you for watching. I lost some of my voice because I have nasal congestion, but still, uh, we need to grind and be better. So again, thank you for watching, guys. See you on the next videos.